Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been frustrated because you haven't been able to call in the relationship that you want despite the effort that you're putting in? You've got the vision, you're taking action, and for some reason it just isn't happening. Well, today I'm going to share with you one critical factor that when you get this thing activated, it can call in the relationship that you want. Check it out. So to demonstrate this factor, I'm going to tell you a story about a time in my life when I wanted something really bad, was on a track, and then found myself stuck. I had moved to Mexico in my early 20s to have an adventure, to learn Spanish, live in another country. And so I got a job at a resort, and my job was to tour people around that resort and then offer them the opportunity to buy a timeshare. So I don't know if you've ever been on a timeshare presentation, but generally people aren't very happy about going on timeshare presentations. So I was trying to sell something to someone that they weren't really receptive or wanting this. And nonetheless, people were having lots of success around me. And really the gold standard of the success that I was after was called the $1 Million Club. If you could sell $1 million worth of timeshare in 1 year, you entered the $1 Million Club. And the people who were in the $1 Million Club had freedom, they were able to travel, they were able to make money and enjoy that money. And for me, in my early 20s, I'm just scraping by. I've got a little apartment and I'm struggling. I'm worried about money every month. I'm looking at my bank account going, wow, I don't even know if I can make rent this month. And so I started to study. I started to work. I would do everything conventionally that you would think about when trying to have more success. And so I started meeting with the people who were having success, asking them how they were creating the results. I modeled what they were doing, and sure enough, my success started to grow. I started to sell more to the point where I was selling about $100,000 of timeshare every single month. And I was selling 100,000, selling 100. I got to 6 weeks before the end of the year, and I had sold $900,000, averaging $100,000 a month. And so I was feeling great, super confident, feeling like I'm gonna blow this goal out of the water. I'm gonna get into the $1 Million Club, which was really hard to do. Well, something shifted about 6 weeks before the end of the year. And I went into work, took a couple around the resort, offered them the timeshare, and they didn't buy. No big deal, dust myself off, come in the next day, same thing, that couple doesn't purchase. Okay, no big deal, dust myself off, do my meditation, my focus work, come in the next day. That couple doesn't buy. I went an entire week without a sale, which was somewhat unusual. It had happened early on, but it hadn't happened in a while. So that weekend, I dust myself off, I kind of get my energy back in alignment. The next week I come in, I go through all week without a sale. Now that's 2 weeks without one sale. That had never happened in that entire year. I come in a third week, take tours day after day after day, and I go through a third week with no sale. I felt like leaving work on that Friday, I felt like I had been kicked in the gut. Now I was only 3 weeks out from the end of the year and with $100,000 to sell, and that was a stretch. I'd been averaging $100,000 in 4 weeks, but to do it in 3, that was nervous making. And I was like, and I had just gone 3 weeks without a sale. I was starting to ask the questions, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? Maybe I've lost it. Maybe I don't have what it takes. Maybe you can relate to these questions. It's interesting. The same questions that we ask in one area is often the question we ask in another area. It's the same thing with relationships. If you've gone on a big dry spell, you can't seem to attract the relationship you want. The questions we often ask are, what's wrong with me? Maybe I'm not meant to have this dream. Maybe it's not in the cards for me. Maybe you've asked yourself those types of questions. And so I went back the 4th week, ready to go. I had focused my energy. I show up to work. I take that tour, and wouldn't you know it, I didn't sell again. I went 26 days without a sale. So if you feel stuck in your love life, you may feel like It's been a long time that you've had the relationship that you really want, the one that really lights you up, the one that you've been dreaming about. And so what do you do in those moments? How do you actually activate yourself to then create the result that you want? And it all comes down to alignment. Alignment of your mind, body, and spirit. What do I mean by that? The mind is your conscious mind, what your goal is, what your vision is, what you want for your life. The body represents not only your physical body, but your subconscious mind, which is the seat of your mind, which is where your self-image is, which is where your hidden beliefs are. And then the spirit is the energy, the vibration that you're putting out. So what I didn't know is that I had an internal block. I had a value that was in conflict. My subconscious mind, or the body aspect of myself, was actually in resistance or conflict to the conscious desire for the goal. And that creates a block energy. If you really want the relationship that you say you want, and yet you're not attracting it, there's a great chance that you've got a love block, which is simple. It's not complicated, but you have to know what it is and how to release it in order to clear it. But what's amazing is once you clear that, you open up amazing channels into your life. So I had a block to this success that I wanted. I went to a sports psychologist that I knew who dealt with the subconscious mind and energy work. He helped me identify that my subconscious belief was that if I achieved the dream of being in the $1 Million Club, that my closest friends down in Mexico were going to reject me. And I had a greater value on relationships than I did on financial success. I would have way more valued relationships than any kind of material success, day and night. And because of that, I wasn't in alignment. That block ended up killing me, sabotaging my results. So I released that block. I got into alignment, understanding that, you know what, if I achieve this result, my friends aren't going to reject me. They're going to support me. They're going to cheer me on. That belief is irrelevant. That belief is ludicrous. So I did some work to dissolve that belief. And here's what's cool. When you get yourself in alignment, providence moves. In the next 2 weeks, I had 2 weeks before the end of the year. In the next 2 weeks, I didn't write $100,000 to get to the $1 million. I wrote $200,000, sold $200,000 in timeshare and blew past the $1 million mark to get into the $1 million club. And the cool part about that, not only was it more money than I had ever earned in a month, or really in 2 weeks in my life, it was like $40,000. I was like, oh my gosh, this is wealthy, I'm amazing. But way more than that was the awareness of, oh my gosh, there's so much more going on than meets the eye. That the energy that we have really does either support us or sabotage us. And so what I've created for you, if you feel like there's a love block in you, if you feel like there's something sabotaging you, I've created an amazing course called Break Free that teaches you exactly what the love blocks are. There's 10 most common love blocks, and it teaches you the technique for how to release those love blocks so that you can open up and receive into your life the relationship that you've always wanted. So I highly encourage you to check it out. I'm going to put a link in the video and in the description below. If you feel like that's going on for you, give yourself the gift. Check out this program, enroll. It will totally change your life. So my question for you is, if there's an area of your life where you would love to see accelerated results, accelerated success, it might be your love life, it might be some other area. What area, if you could wave a magic wand, would you skyrocket the success in your life? Go ahead and post that in the comment section below. And take a moment and click the subscribe button and the little bell, because each week we bring you videos with tools, insights, and ideas to inspire you and help you increase the love in your life. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. I'll see you soon.